Hello, everybody. Welcome into Talking Fitchburg on this Tuesday, August 9, 2022. I'm Jeremy Crosby. Hope you're having a wonderful day on this election day, fall primary election happening today. And hopefully you got out and voted. If you haven't, at 6 o'clock, right now, it's 6 o'clock. Still have 2 hours to go out and vote. Polls close at 8 o'clock tonight if you're watching this here on Tuesday evening the 9th. But if you're watching this the next day, well, you missed it. Sorry. But there'll be another one that comes around, right? And that'll be the regular election coming up in November. We'll give you the details at your polling locations. If you haven't gone out and you're curious, where do I go vote? I'll have that for you coming up in the headlines. Plus, today is a special day as we have 1 day left of Open Book. You may, whether you have time to go to Open Book or not, when it comes to your assessment, we want to make sure you understand the assessment. So we had interviewed the city assessor, Amy Mercer, last week, put up a little piece about this year's assessments, but we're going to bring some of that back to you in a two-parter today. So we'll have that for you. Plus, we'll pull the full interview up today. So if you still have any questions, check out the full interview. It's right around 26 minutes, but goes through kind of some of the common questions that you may be concerned with when it comes to assessment. So we'll check in with her on a two-part piece coming up in just a little bit. So let's get to your headlines today. And first, we're looking at that fall primary election, Tuesday, August 9th. You still have time. Polls open until 8 p.m. tonight. If you're voting, District number 1 is located at the Catholic Multicultural Center. That's located at 5256 Verona Road. District 2, you're voting at the Wyndham Garden Hotel, 2969 Cahill, Maine in Fitchburg. District 3, Fitchburg Community Center, 5510 Lacey Road. And District number 4, you're at Fire Station number 1. Again, polls are open here till 8 o'clock p.m. Got any questions? Check out our website. If you're not sure what district you're voting in, check our website. It'll tell you what district based on where you live, or go to myvotewi.gov, type in your address, and it'll tell you exactly where to vote. Turning our attention to the Open Book and the 2022 Reevaluation Open Book and Board of Review. You have till tomorrow, August 10th, till 4:30 p.m. For the open book sessions and set appointments. If you want to meet with the city assessor, if they still have appointments, 608-270-4235. Board of Review officially is scheduled for August 31st at 9 a.m. Anyone who wishing to file an objection must contact the city clerk to complete and submit the required objection form supplied by the city prior to appearing before the Board of Review. Objections will be scheduled to be heard by the board in the order in which they are received by the city clerk. Again, later on today in our two-part series, we will answer some of those questions that you have, some of the common questions about the 2022 assessments. Jazz at 5 returns to McKee Farms Park tomorrow night. Yep, join everybody for some great music in the park tomorrow night with local food, great beer and wine, and of course, some awesome jazz. Starts at 5 p.m. tomorrow night. 2 performances happening, so we hope you'll make it out there for that great concert series. Plus, Concerts at McKee returns back next week. It's the last one. It's on Monday. Yeah, Monday, August 15th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. 2930 Chapel Valley Road in Fitchburg. Make sure you save the date and come out for the final concert. Again, I've probably been saying this wrong, and I apologize. Sounds like it's going to be a fun band, but Rebella, I believe is how you pronounce it, group will be there pumping out the music. Plus, the Massive Music Foundry kicks off their youth band starting at 6 p.m. Headliner at 7 at McKee Farms Park. Final concerts at McKee already. Crazy. But bring that picnic basket. They also have beer, wine, water, soda, and food carts to come on out and enjoy a night in the park. And finally, free mobile food pantry by Second Harvest Food Bank is returning to the Southdale Park. It'll be on Thursday, August 11th. All who need food are welcome. No ID is needed. Drive-through or walk up. Volunteer workers will only ask about the number of people in your household. They're at the Southdale Park, 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. And that park is located at 200 Deer Valley Road in the town of Madison. All right, that does it for our headlines. Coming up next, we open up our guest digest. It's all tied together with your assessments of 2022. That's next right here on Talking Fitchburg.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So, yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Así que no le cuento todo y sobre de encajar, siento como que me va a decir que es una ridiculez.
Puedo entender eso completamente.
Bailando entre dos vidas, el pasado y el futuro.
En la región central de Estados Unidos hay un promedio de más de 850 tornados cada año y últimamente el número de inundaciones también ha aumentado. Por eso, lo más probable es que vuelva a haber más tornados e inundaciones en el área. Y con tantas actividades, es probable que cuando suceda usted no esté con sus hijos. ¿Saben ellos qué hacer? Listo.gov/niños tiene información para facilitar esta conversación. Cuando llegue el momento, se sentirán preparados y no asustados. Así que hable con su familia hoy mismo.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from our assessing department, it is your assessor, and it is Amy Mercer. Welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with us today. We wanted to get you earlier, but you know, you're busy, right? You're busy doing a lot of stuff there in the assessing department. But we're in the middle of open book, and more importantly, we do want to get the information out on how all of this works as you are working through this time, because transparency is important when it comes to understanding your assessment. And assessors are out there to help you. Doesn't always feel that way, but they are here to help you, and our team is awesome. So Amy, let's jump into it first. The 2022 year was considered a reevaluation assessment year. What does that mean?
So there's two different types of assessment years. There's maintenance years and revaluations. A maintenance year means we review all the sales, we'll review building permits, fires, etc. But we do not adjust assessments based on markets. A revaluation, we do all of the steps in a maintenance year, but we do those additional steps of bringing assessments to the market value. So our goal in a revaluation is to set your assessment at the market value as of January 1 of that calendar year.
And so assessment, so this was done. Your staff has been working very hard. Everything was prepped and assessment notices went out to all the residents. That leads up to open book. And before we look at an assessment and break it down, the open book and board of review, could you just quickly explain the differences between the two?
Sure. Open book is the first step. That starts after you receive your assessment notice. And it's an informal appeal process. So some property owners contact us during open book and just have a general discussion wanting to know what their neighborhood increase for that year, or why did my assessment go up? Others may think their assessment isn't accurate, and so they'll want a little more detail about it, or maybe there's something about your property we don't know, that, you know, oh, your basement flooded and it removed the basement finish. Well, after reviewing your record card, you say, hey, wait a minute, we tore that basement finish out. Then you let us know and we'll remove that data from our record. Some properties we estimate because the property owner didn't participate, or maybe the incorrect mailing address was included on the transfer return. And so you didn't get the request because it went to a former mailing address or something. So it gives us that opportunity to perfect the assessment role during that open book. Board of review is that formal appeal process. So once open book is done, anyone who contacts us during open book will send a letter stating whether that whatever we discussed was evidence to change their assessment or it was not. And so either way, we'll send a letter to those property owners. And then board of review is the formal appeal process. It's like a quasi-judicial court hearing. The board is made up of property owners that live here in that community. But at the time of board of review, it's up to the property owner to prove that that assessment is inaccurate. The assessor is presumed correct at that point in time. So it's held pretty much like a court hearing. You know, the property owner will present their information to the board. The board can ask them questions. The assessor will present their information. The property owner can ask questions and the board can ask questions. And then once all of that information is provided, the board will make their determination if what they provided deems a change in that value or not. To attend a board of review, you must contact the city clerk at least 48 hours prior to the meeting of the board of review. And board of review this year would be August 31st at 9 a.m. So that means by 9 a.m. on August 29th, you would have had to tell the clerk you wanted to appear at the board.
All right. It's good information to know the process of how it works. So we've established the reevaluation year, or what, you know, whether it's reevaluation or it's a maintenance year. It was a reevaluation year. We're in the open book after you received all your assessments in the mail. We get into the open book, then board of review. Let's break down looking at an assessment. So you have an example of an assessment, and I told you, I said, we want to go through this as you see this, you open it up and you're like, what? So we want to break that down. So you open up that screen for us and let's take a peek here at what we're looking at when it comes to our assessment.
All right. So this is an example of one of our assessment notices. So of course it's going to have the city logo and information on there, and it will state that this is a 2022 notice of assessment. This is not a tax bill. So make sure you understand that it's not a tax bill. This is just telling you where your new assessment is. It'll tell you your tax key number or your parcel number. Those two terminologies go interchangeable, tax key and parcel. The legal description, and we redacted the property address on this one just for that owner's confidentiality, but it'll have your property location on there. Then there is the assessment years. So there's 2021s and 2022. So as of January 1 of 2021, this was the previous assessment. This 88,400 was the land value, the buildings and improvements, and then the total assessment. Now this building and improvements, that does not mean that you made improvements to your property. That is the portion of your value of the buildings and structures on that property. So the improvements to the land is what that is. So in this notice, the 2022 gives you the new value of the land, the new value for all of those structures or improvements to that land, your house, your garage, your business, depending on what classification it is, etc. And then that total assessment. And then it tells you what that change of assessment is, okay, in dollars. And then below that, it'll have a reason for change. And it'll say what that reason is for land and improvements. In this case, both of these say revalue on them. If it was a new house, it might also say new construction. We use a lot of acronyms because the space is only so big. So if it says something like data core, that means data correction. In many cases, it might say something like COR, core, SF, per elec, and sketch. So what it's saying is basically on our end, we're trying to relay that it was we drew it electronically in our CAMA system. And so somehow that square footage was altered, usually it's slightly, that previously someone sketched it on paper and hand calculated that math. And now the computer, when we sketch it electronically, will make those corrections and automatically calculate that square footage. Below that, telling you what that reason is, we'll list the open book dates. We'll list the board review dates and the city's assessor. And this is our main phone number that you would call to contact us to schedule an appointment. And then it also lists the municipal clerk and their phone number, who you would contact if you chose to go the next step beyond open book and attend board review. And then in the notice, it talks about the assessment information. Our assessment date is always January 1 of each year, is how we value properties. And here where it says our assessment level, our general level of assessment, we're estimating it to be 100% because we did revalue this year. And that's our goal, to have your assessment match where that market is, where those sales are telling us it would be. And then at the bottom, it goes into how to appeal your assessment. First discuss it with your assessor, and that's during that open book period. And then to file that formal appeal, that's where you would schedule with the city clerk, at least that 48 hours that I mentioned earlier. And we also list on here, the state creates a guide for property owners each year. And so you can go out and view that. That explains the assessment process, the appeal process, and all of that. We have copies, you can always get a paper copy from us if you need one. We also have that link on our city's website also.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll have more with Amy Mercer and an interview I did with her on your 2022 assessment next right here on Talking Fitchburg.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be flood next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihavepreddiabetes.org.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Man, it's lonely. Like, going through life lonely.
There is the therapeutic aspect of music, just expressing how you feel. I'm going to talk to Howie about his feelings, make it into a song.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. We're going to continue my interview that I had with the city assessor on your 2022 assessments. If you didn't get a chance to get to open book or just have general questions, we have the breakdown. Here's Amy with this interview. So when you're looking at, no matter, whether we have the example there or you're looking at yours and you're saying, all right, mine went up, that one, it said that the difference there was 63, we'll just say 63 and some change, 1,000 up. And no matter what it is, and I know that's very open because every property, every lot, is different. But when you're looking at an overall trend here, and pick any neighborhood or that example, and somebody sees it goes up and they're like, either A, I didn't do anything to my property, I didn't do anything to my, and they're just generally saying, well, why did it go up then? What is your response?
So typically, if it states it's just revaluation, then that typically means your neighborhood increased that amount, that percentage. So when we analyze the sales, we'll look at the new sale prices of those properties that sold compared to that last assessment. And let's say all of those sales within a neighborhood are showing us that neighborhood, the last assessment is 10% less than what those sales are coming in. Then we'll apply a 10% market adjustment to that neighborhood to bring things in line with where those sales are. We don't chase a sale, so we're not supposed to do that. So we shouldn't be setting it exactly at that sale price because you lose uniformity by doing that. You might have 5 condos that are all the same, but buyers and sellers have different reasons for taking the price they do. So you might have 5 condos and one might sell for $300,000, one for $310,000, one for $305,000, one for $298,000, and one for $300,000 again. So we'll take that average and maybe all 5 will come in at $302,000, because the principle behind assessments, it's done for ad valorem tax purposes, and they should all be equitable if they are truly the same property. Sometimes property owner will say, my house is just like my neighbor's. Why is mine higher than my neighbor's? And then when we look at it, it's not just like your neighbor's. Your neighbor's is 2 stories and yours is 1 story. You have 2,000 square feet on first floor and 2,000 square feet of a basement, whereas they have 1,000 feet of a basement, 1,000 of first and 1,000 of second. So they're not the same, and that means their assessments. What we see is the sales tell us that they don't sell the same, even though it's both 1,000 square feet, they don't sell the same. So we really let those sales talk to us, and that's what we're doing. We're analyzing what that market did and what our buyers and sellers are doing.
Amy, another question that probably has come up has because of what's been going on in the last couple of years with house prices, and you factor in Dane County is in demand, we're shortage of houses, there's a lot of factors here going on. But if houses are selling 20, 30, 40, 50,000 over what they are assessed at, or just that's just what it's been happening, is that affecting and why we're seeing this increase so substantial? In some cases, like I said, you're just saying, wow, it went up 63,000. What happened?
Mm-hmm. No, it is. I mean, we are required by law to assess at market value, and that is the market right now. That people are paying over asking price, paying over the last assessment. Now that interest rates are changing, and that's occurred after the first of the year, we may see that the market slows, but maybe it won't slow. But what we do is we analyze what really happened, and that's how your assessment. So if all of a sudden that market does slow, or instead of going up let's say 17%, maybe that property will only go up 5% for the next time we revalue. So each time we revalue, we look at that time frame and say, this is how the sales are coming compared to the last assessment. But in the case of what's happened in the last couple of years, that's been the market. I mean, all property owners, that's what they have to do. It doesn't mean your taxes will necessarily go up. It means that uniformity or that distribution is changing for those. And there's one thing I didn't say earlier, but this change that we have this year, in some properties, they'll be like, whoa, the market didn't go up that much. Well, our change is over 2 years. The last time we revalued was 2020. We did not revalue in 2021. So if your property went up 14% this year, that's really divide that by 2, and that's 7% each year. And that's really important to remember, that we did not revalue 2021, so we didn't do that. And you're doing a 2-step stage now, not a 1-year assessment change.
All right, we'll get the full interview posted up online. It's 26 minutes. Didn't have a chance to get to the whole thing, but we'll get that posted up online and share that with you tonight, so you can check that out. And if you have any questions, you can always contact the assessing department. We'll wrap up the show next. This is TF.
Como padre, todos los días son un desafío. Y hay que estar ahí presentes. No importa lo cansado que uno esté, hay que estar ahí presentes para ellos. Cuando los niños aprenden algo nuevo, es ese momento mágico y especial. Y creo que presenciar ese momento es mi favorito.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year, and lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. It's here. It's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? I'm high. Oh.
Well, welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up the show. Again, a reminder that if you didn't get to see or you missed a part of this interview or want to see the whole interview, we're going to get this posted up on our social media page. That is through YouTube, because it's a little bit longer format and YouTube plays that out well, but we'll still share the link on our Facebook page as well. And you're say, Jeremy, where do I find that? Well, here's where you find it. Right here, yeah. Facebook, YouTube, that's where you can stay connected with us. And of course, you watch Talking Fitchburg anywhere on these great media partner outlets. Have a great night, everybody.